G'day YouTube. Warbles on a lot here with yet another instalment in the walking stick resurrection series. I've removed the tape and now you can see what Stuck in Florida described as the carpenter's wood patch, using wood flour and clear epoxy to fill all the little dings in the ironwood stick. And it should be a pretty good colour match. As you can see, that's an ironwood dowel. That shows the inside view, and here's the other side. So I reckon the next trick is going to be to try and get that yellow box insert to be as close a fit as damn is to swearing to the inside of the ironwood knock. And for that, I'm counting on the residual stickiness left over from the duct tape, however much of that there might be, for being of assistance in holding on to my next high-tech tool, my stash of Australian-made carbon paper. Now I have this stuff which is fit for pencils, and I have this stuff which is also Australian made. I think we'll go with the Indian head. It's Cero-sealed. It says so on the box. Cero-sealed Super right. So the game plan is to use the back of a pocket knife to put a strip of carbon paper with its marking side in to the V-knock, thus, or at least something like that. To achieve that kind of effect, if you see what I mean. And then, while holding it in place, sort of bounce it up and down and let its inertia provide a bit of friction and compression between the carbon paper and the box. And if the God theory is willing and the Pope be agreeable, and when I pull this off, we should have some blue marks on the yellow box. Black marks. There we go. Isn't that interesting? And those are the places where there's been physical contact between the two bits of wood. So those are the places where I want to remove the wood, particularly those ones there, because that's the side I want to sort of get the stick to lean in towards in order to get it to be straight at the finish. So let's see what we can do to get rid of them anyway. And then we give it another fitting. And we see where now it needs to be taken back. It's not rocket science. If you see what I mean. Interesting. We've got rid of nearly all the high spots. We've come up with new high spots up at the end of the flange, and quite a lot of ink on the very end. So I think I might have to take the end down a bit. The other side's acquired good contact all along. This has got a bit of a dome-shaped cutout in it. First I'm going to take it back straight, then I'm going to replicate the dome-shaped cutout. At least that's the plan. Sometimes getting your eye in the right position is just as important as using the right tool, the right amount of force, and the right angular orientation. Okay, we'll see how that goes. What do we got? Broke the paper. We got some printing on the end. We got some printing up there. I think we're getting a bit closer to having a fit. Okay, well, I'm going to continue on in this fashion for a while, and I'll be back when I've actually got something worth looking at to show you. Because this is, you know, go a long way in a long time sort of thing. And this seems to be perhaps a better way of applying the carbon paper to the inside of the joint. Don't know, but I think that might be better. See how we go with that. And now, finally, my opinion is it's about as good as it's likely to get, I think. I'm not saying that there's not somewhere a woodworker who can do a better job and get a better fit. But I reckon, for my purposes, this is probably about as good as I can get, and judicious use of G-clamps while it's under glue will probably fix the residual gap remaining. At least that's the theory. So, not perfect, but not bad. All things considered. I'm fairly happy with that. Like I said, not perfect, but it'll do. And now, I can give the top end of the stick a rest for a bit and start coming up with workings to fit the bottom splice of the yellow box into the iron bark at the other end of the stick. And you know, there's no point working on the bottom end if I couldn't get all those holes in the knock to go back together. And then if the rest of the stick works out, then I can start working on the handle, and if the handle works out, then I can start working on the lizard's fingers and back leg. It's all just a matter of sequencing, figuring out what to start to try to fix. Firsties. Kind of thing. So, anyway, wobbles on a lot to YouTube. It's happening, but it's happening slowly. Kind of thing. But, you know, as they say, haste makes waste. Ciao.